yesterday. I think Callum Smith is the #1 super middleweight in the world, unquestionably the Ring Magazine champion, World Boxing Super Series winner, WBA world champion, and Gilberto Ramirez. He'll argue with me, but I believe he's #2. And I think 1v2 is always a great setup.
Oh yeah.
Bob spoke about his keenness to make that fight. Callum will be boxing at Madison Square Gardens on June the 1st, and then I'd like to make that fight in the autumn fall. I think it's probably the best fight in the division.
I would have to agree, but let's talk about now the fight that is going to happen. The man to your right, not only just an incredible human being, but an incredible fighter, and earned this opportunity for this fight at being the #1 contender for the WBA. But there's been some backlash as to why he would accept this challenge. You know, and even though he's the #1 contender. What does that say about your guy, that he's going to go in there and take on this challenge, you know, not only in the US, but against the top pound-for-pound talent?
Yeah, this is the ultimate challenge in the division to fight Loma. I would like to say firstly thank you to Bob and Todd, and thank you to the WBA as well, who obviously Anthony got himself in a position to become mandatory, and that was forced, and thank you to Paco Valcazar as well from the WBO, and Igis Klimas, who seems to have 50% of every card in boxing right now. Congratulations to you.
And he turns guys down.
Exactly. And but really for Anthony, you know, this is it was a few years ago where we finally got a shot at the world title. He was going to fight Richard Abreu, and you know, crazily he chased some burglars out of his next door neighbour's house, and they attacked him. He fractured his skull. He broke his ankle, and really, I felt at the time that was probably it for him. He came back, he got another shot at the world title, he beat Darlis Perez and actually only got given a draw. He rematched him, he won that. He had a great win in a tough defence against Barroso, and then he boxed Linares twice in 2 great fights, unifications, Ring Magazine titles. So, you know, when you've achieved that in boxing, there's nothing else to achieve really other than fight the best. And that's why Anthony chose to chase Lomachenko. You know, most guys would try and look at an easier fight, but he wants to be involved in the biggest fights. He wants to fight the best, and unquestionably, Lomachenko is the best in the division. So he has an unbelievable team around him, and Joe Gallagher, Ring Magazine Trainer of the Year a couple of years ago, who knows this year as well, and a great team as well in training camp, and Paul here and Johnny and everybody around him, Callum. There's a great feeling and great family vibe amongst them, and they're not deluded. They know what they're up against. You know, they're a massive underdog in this fight. He has absolutely zero pressure, but he's an excellent fighter. He has a clever boxing brain, like I said, a very clever trainer as well, and he's up for this fight. And you know, we hear a lot of people talking about what's next and who's coming next. That's great for us. That's great, because Anthony's just going to get on with his job on Friday night. He knows exactly what he needs to do. Now he's got to do it. It's difficult against someone as skilled as Lomachenko, but trust me when I say he's here to win this fight, and he deserves this opportunity. That's what mandatory positions are for. And being a champion, being a unified champion, part of your responsibility is to face your mandatory challenges. And I want to thank Loma and thank Igis for actually not vacating the belt and saying, no, we want the unification fights, but we also understand our responsibilities. And I think it's so great to see a fighter that is willing to try and collect the belts and try and focus on legacy rather than just the fights that bring him the most money.
Well, Eddie, I like what you said. You talked about the mandatory challenge. I hope you have the same attitude when Kubrat Pulev, the #1 in the IBF, challenges Joshua.
I'm all up for that fight. He's got a few issues to overcome first, Bob, but I'm sure you've got some good lawyers.
He said, keep that same energy, right? Anthony, to you now, as your promoter, Eddie mentioned, you are in this spot, you are in this position being the WBA #1 challenge. Of course, you're sitting back like everyone else thinking that he's going to unify against Richard Comey before that happens, and then an injury, and it's kind of the perfect storm, if you will, for you to get this opportunity. What was that call like in that moment when you knew you were getting the shot?
Yeah, well, we always knew the April 12th date was penciled in with the top-ranked team for the Richard Comey fight, for Vasyl to fight him. But we also knew it was a very quick turnaround for the Richard Comey-Chania fight. And I was watching it, and you know, we've only had seven weeks. Always people think, but Joe is always stressed the importance of staying in the gym, staying ready. So a lot of people think to only have 7 weeks to prepare for a fight like Lomachenko isn't long, but we've had a full 12-week camp just in case this date popped up, and lo and behold, after how many stopped Chaniev, we saw an interview after the fight and his hand was wrapped up, and I thought, nah, it's going to happen this. How there's a chance of happening? And, you know, I'm thankful for the opportunity, like Eddie said, from Team Lomachenko, Bob Arum. And I prepared the best I possibly can. I'm in, without doubt, the best shape of my life, physically and mentally, and that's what I should be in a fight like this. There's no excuse. I shouldn't be anything other than that. But honestly, I cannot wait till Friday night. It's, Eddie mentioned it then, a huge challenge, but it's a challenge I can't wait for.
You talked about it being a huge challenge. I mean, you have the chance to make some history yourself. I mean, I look back at some of the, you know, British fighter upsets. This could be arguably the biggest upset in British boxing history, and history means something.
We don't have to go that far to sell a fight.
I mean, you told me to sell it. We got tickets still on sale. AXS.com if you haven't got your tickets now.
It would be, and you know, I love this sport. You know, it's a big part of my life. Everything around it. When I'm not, I'm around the team. I'm helping bring kids through in the amateurs. You know, it's a huge part of my life. So of course, that's massive motivation for me. But people who have got good travelling support. You know, people at home, everyone around me, the effort the team puts on in. You know, I've got so much motivation for this, and that's just added.
Make some new fans here in LA and in the US too. Only fought once here as a professional, so that won't hurt.
Of course, yeah, no, it's great to be here, iconic venue.
Yeah.
Like the Staples Centre, and for all the marvels, you know, for the best prizes in the sport. I can't wait for Friday night.
I'll try to wrap up. I think you have a football match you'd like to be watching right now.
We're losing 1-0, so...
Oh, already. Okay, maybe I'll keep you. Manchester United is like...
Manchester United.
They're down. They have a big match.
I remember being, when we did Ricky Hatton, we were on that the stadium. It's a great field. We had the fighters go down, and they really know how to do an event.
Well, yeah, then let's ask you about that, Lo, about talking about the knowing in the UK how to do an event. I mean, we have Eddie Hearn up here. You have a fight. You would love to fight there. You went there. You got
Eddie, well, he doesn't know dick about it. I'm voting in the United States.
If you want, I can help you sell some tickets on Friday.
I want to say something before we get alone. Look, I think this is going to be a very, very good, very interesting fight. But I have to say this, that any Loma fight is worth watching. It's the equivalent, really, I was thinking about that, of watching Picasso do a painting. What a great thrill that would be. It's a great thrill for people who love boxing to see this guy on my right, Vasyl Lomachenko, fight. It's something that is unique. It's something that we won't see again for many years. All fans should come out and watch this, because this is an artist at work.
Yes, sir.
I don't feel like I should say anything else after that, but Loma, let me ask you. He was talking about just the fight fans in the UK, and obviously they'll be supporting your opponent. But you have a lot of boxing fans there. Is that somewhere you'd like to possibly fight someday?
You know, I think I have a lot of fans in the UK, so I think it will be very interesting for all fans in the world.
I just want to say I can testify to that, because when you came to the UK for the Usyk fight, one young man chased him for 6 miles.
Oh, I saw that
He
video.
was in a car, and this guy was on foot to get
For
him
an
to sign his
autograph,
glove.
right?
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, he got
I mean, why did you
$1,000
keep
for
him
it on
going
eBay
for 6
later.
miles? Hello.
It was very fun, yeah. But Christina, you know, I don't want to talk too much before the fight. You know, I just want to say thank you, big thank you for my team, for my friends who came support me, for all my fans, for my promoter Bob Arum, for Top Rank, ESPN. So we'll see Friday, 8 p.m. ESPN Plus.
Loma out. Drop the mic. That's it, right?
That's it. I'm done.
Okay. You're right.